Welcome to week 4 on the transporter build. So, what we have today is a whole plethora of parts. So, rapid fire, we have a gland to go through the roof to finally get the light bar connected up. We have an auto light mod for it. We've got a new wing mirror. We've got new rear brake lights because they're cracked and smashed. We've got the transporter HQ sounds like a Golf door seal mod. We've got reversing camera. We've got new surround and stuff for the stereo. We have parking sensors to go on the back. We're going to do our usual mod of making a wheel carrier that goes on a ladder. Brings us on to our next point, ladder. So that got Raptor on the other night, and that's ready to go on with its plates there. And finally you see Raptor sat here. Now we will see what we're going to do. I'm going to see if I can get that dent out of that bumper, and if I can, we're going to Raptor the front and rear bumpers, because as you saw in last week's B-roll, they kind of stand out.
So let's start by getting the bumper off.
Live it up, sweet emotion. Every time, every night, you and I on a roll. Switch it up where I'm going. Stay on the fly just in time, know the right way to go. I'm on the road, it's better.
So you can see, that is our problem. Now this is going to dictate whether or not I even try and paint these bumpers today. But now that it's off, I can get to the back. So if I apply heat and then potentially sand these scratches out, I'm wondering if maybe we can make it look somewhat presentable. So let's get the heat gun out, see if we can fix that.
Oh, I was going to say drum roll, please.
It's not perfect.
It's way better than it was. Don't blind yourself.
It's off. I don't think what you're going to get rid of is these stress marks that have been there for a while now.
I didn't want to. Well, let's go in a minute. She smells right.
She is right. That's looking better, isn't it?
It's looking much better already. Just got this bit.
Yeah, so this before was like proper dented in here. So although I'd pushed here, this was then in. So with a bit more heat concentrated, I've pushed that out. As you can see, it's got my fingerprint in it now. But if I do the same here, I'm hoping I can get it to a point. I mean, you've got a massive delve and a cut in it there. But if it just looks better than it did.
It's never going to be perfect, but what are the chances of me putting some more
It's
dents
never
in
going to
it?
be perfect, but also getting one shipped to Cornwall, unless you buy new, is a pain in the ass. There's no used ones for sale at the minute. And some of the ones on eBay are just, they're asking like 80, 90 quid for a used one. Whereas if you've got one local to you, they're like £10, £20. People aren't after a lot. But you can see now when people do the heat gun or blowtorch trick on bumpers.
Yeah.
But don't do that, kids. Because all that's doing is boiling the oils in the plastic, which will bring the oils to the surface and out of the bag, makes the plastic incredibly brittle, and it doesn't last very long before you have to do it again, and it makes it even more brittle when you do it again. So get a finishing thing to do it, or paint them. I'm sure there is actual bodywork methods to this, but some rough grit sandpaper is currently what I know, and I'm just trying to knock down some of the edges and scarring
Starting to do the job, isn't
in
it?
it, just a little bit. But compared to the massive delve that was in that before,
Yeah, it's so much better.
and for free, I'm happy with that. So once it's all raptored, I don't think you'll really notice.
No, hopefully not.
So,
While Alex is busy prepping the bumpers to be painted, I'm going to try and fit this Transporter HQ sounds like a Golf door seal to the doors. It's meant to help the road noise and the tinniness when you're shutting the doors. It sounds very van-like. This is supposed to make it sound more like a car. Inside the pack you get the seals, which have 3M tape on the back to stick them to the doors. You get 2 glass primer wipes to clean the door to make sure that your adhesive is going to stick really well. And your instructions. You can see it shows you exactly where they need to go and your step-by-step installation guide. So that's the door seals done, and just for reference I will now close this door and hopefully we can put the 2 side by side. From first impressions it sounds a lot of a deeper, lower, more mellow thud.
You haven't got the rattle.
Alex is down there.
It's taking off the front bumper.
Yeah, it's not as rattly. It does sound more like a car. How are things going?
Not well. So my plan initially was to paint this off the van, but because it's lived by the sea, and as you can see it has corrosion, as vans go it's pretty corrosion free. But things like bolts and fasteners for bumpers and stuff have just completely seized in the cheap fittings that they use. So it's a case of I can start ripping things out, but then the bumper's just not going to go back on. So I've found the paint sheets after many ages of looking. I think I'm going to paint correct the headlights first, because that should give us a pretty good transformation shot. And I also don't want to get polish in the bumper after it's painted. So I'm going to get the bolts back in that are taken off. We will mask this, paint correct these, and then we'll mask the entire van ready to put paint in. So I don't know how well you can tell on camera, but this is very cloudy and has had French or like European driving lights on it. So what we're going to do is take some 1-stage compound, a microfiber pad and a polishing machine and see how well we can make these look. So let's give it a go. Looks better than it did.
Way better. How much better do these look? Way better. And for those of you that might be asking, why haven't we replaced or updated the headlights? I want to keep this as original, sort of OEM, as possible. And I think that these are looking so much better. Next, I am going to prep the front bumper and give that all a bit of a sand, ready for paint. Alex is over there marking up the rear bumper, ready to fit the parking sensors. Then that'll be ready for paint.
Parking sensors. Now, Jess is likely to crash. It's just Jess.
I've never crashed in my car.
Dirty look I got then. So parking sensors, this is a front and rear kit. I think for the minute we're only going to fit the rears. We may fit the fronts at some point, but the effort of getting them through the firewall. The front's quite easy to judge on this, I find, but because there's no glass in the back and no reversing camera yet, it's quite difficult to judge the back. So we've just got a cheap kit, comes with this little junction box which has your speaker in, 8 parking sensors, and a little screen. But to be honest, I don't think I'm going to put the screen in either. You just need the beeper and that should be enough. So out of this we just need 4 parking sensors. Now annoyingly they are gloss black, but it is what it is. So you've got 4 parking sensors, the beeper, and then the little harness that joins it all into the van, and they usually come with their own hole saw. So let's get the bumper drilled. I've already marked it up. Let's get the bumper drilled and get the parking sensors clipped in to test them out.
coaster ride, hands up in the sky, take you on a ride.
That is parking sensors, which actually looks pretty even. Happy with that. Jess is just putting in her wench duties and he's cleaning the bumper with isopropyl alcohol. Once we've done that one, we'll move on to this bumper, and we have some adhesion promoter. Now this is recommended when you're spraying plastics. So U-Pull plastic primer adhesion promoter. So just spray it out the gun. You can see it's very liquid in there. So spray it straight out the gun. 2 coats, 10 minutes to flash, and we should be good to go. But we'll get that masked right off first.
Way onto another. What's it gonna be? Where's your head at? Where's my head at? Watch how the waves they're chasing each other, and they let it be.
So, coat 1, adhesion promoter. Let's get this on.
Loud gets louder, fast gets faster.
First layer of colour, go.
Decide I don't know which of us is right, but let's just get on the same page tonight. The same page tonight. I don't know which of us is right, but let's just get on the same page tonight. The same page tonight.
See, we've got sanding marks. For some reason I went in with a way too aggressive grate, didn't even think about it. So I think what we're going to do is use the Schultzing gun, which is going to put way more texture in it. Not really what I wanted, but I want to replace both these bumpers at some point anyway, so I can always just redo it at a later date. But I've got one pot of Raptor left, so let's hope it goes to plan. So the back bumpers come out all right. I'm not too upset with that. That looks alright. The front bumper though, I don't know if the paint hadn't mixed properly or what, but to me that just looks shit. So I think we are going to have to find a new bumper. I'm not at all happy with that, but we will wait and see how it dries. But in the meantime, we have something that did go to plan when painting. We've got the ladder to go on. So it's going to go on this door because that one has a number plate on. You can see roughly there's a shadow there, and there was, you can see a rough shadow there. So that's roughly where they're going to bolt into. Let's clean up that door and then get mocking up where we want the ladder. Hard to get the full idea, so obviously we're missing the bumper, but the ladder is on, and you can move the whole door by it. I'm happy with how that's come out. I think that's as central as I could probably get it. And going off this bolt here that attaches the ladder to the van, and this bolt here. So we've got 22 and 22 dead on, and I'm assuming that that is dead straight to allow the doors to meet, and that's the only reference there is that I can go for, because these plates are different sizes. This one's much wider, this one is much narrower by about 10 centimeters. So yeah, it is on there, and we now have un ladder. So yeah, we need to work out what we're going to do next. I might try and do this auto light upgrade because that looks like a quick and easy one. I just jinxed it, but it literally should just replace everything that's in there. So let's try it. Now, for anyone who isn't familiar with Volkswagens, you would assume that you would have to take the dash apart to get this out. That's not strictly the case. If you press in, you'll see if you go to there, you can't press in anymore. If you go off, you can press in. If you press in and turn to side lights, it'll be a bit stiffer. But that then slides out of the dashboard. So, let's then unplug this, however that unplugs. Looks like a plug each side. So that goes that way up. I might have to take the dash apart to hide this in there, but let's just see if this actually works. So looks like it goes in like that. The new one then has a completely different switch to the old one, which looks like that. So in theory then, I should just be able to plug that into there. So we have side lights. And then if I put the key in, we have dip. We should have fog. If I go to there, yeah. So we have fog, that's fine. So then, I don't know now. Oh, headlights are on. So if you look over there, you can see on the wall, this is on auto, if it'll focus. So you can see this is on auto and the headlights are on. So I wonder if I put my phone torch, let me grab my phone, to this light sensor, does it then turn off? I don't know if the phone will work. There you go. So currently my phone is to the torch. If I pull it away, the barn is dark enough that you should hear the relay click and it should turn back on. It probably has a period in which it will take to turn back on. Probably should cover that so it's complete darkness. There you go, headlights on. So, our van now has auto lights. Now something I'm intrigued about is apparently if you lock it and unlock it, you should have the welcome home lights, which that was the main reason I bought it for. So I'm very curious to see if it will do it. Oh, and they've come back on. So let's just pull you out in front. If I close all the doors, you can see headlights are on, which if anyone knows, oh there you go, they've just turned off. So if anyone knows T5s, the key's there, the headlights shouldn't be on. There you go, turn off. And if I unlock the van, like this, headlights come on. And if I lock it, it'll probably take the same period again. Give it a minute. Turn off. There you go. That is the sort of mod that I love. I think that's great. I'll get to that. Just a simple little thing. I think that only cost me, it was either 30 or 40 pounds to do that, which I think that's proper cool. So wind deflectors, we've got them in Norm. They're a great little addition to a camper van because it allows you to crack windows, let extra air in.
Every van and vehicle.
I've had them in quite a lot of vehicles. It just allows you to sit on the motorway with a cracked window, letting air in without getting all the wind noise. So pull the sticky off, just needs to put the windows down.
All the way?
Yeah. And then all you do is pop it in one end, bend it down to get that end in, and then press up like that.
Can you do that again for the people in the back?
Let's go help Jess. Poke that end in first, get it in there, slot down. That's it. Then bring this hand down and bend it until that tip goes in. Bring it down. Bring it down.
Why are you so bossy?
Bring it down. Right. And there you go. That's it. Then you just get your clips and push them up inside the window. They look cool. I like them on a black vehicle. They stand out less.
Ooh, she's sexy.
I'm going to next tackle the roof. Now, I've got a couple of things to do here. One, it's time to finally make that light bar work properly. Two, solar panel. As you can see, has the wires sticking out the sides. And spoiler alert, everything interior, wall, ceiling, floor wise has turned up this week, and I've now got this week off. So next week's video is going to be quite a big video, but that means there's some prep things I need to do. So for example, solar now needs to come through the roof. So I've got two glands here, which obviously one of them will be taken up solely with the solar cables coming through. Luckily I had these on the shelf from last time. We've got sticks, all, whatever. And then we have another one. Now obviously one port on that is going to be for the light bar. The other port is going to be for this. Now this is a 4G antenna. Now I need to make potentially a little plate. I'm hoping I can just bolt it straight through a uni-strut, maybe towards the back, just so you can see it when the kayaks get loaded up. But spoiler alert, we will be putting Wi-Fi in this. We both work from home, and sometimes, you know, it's nice to work in the van, or if we go away, then we can always negotiate working from the van sometimes. So having this just means we always have signal. Also helps because I do on call. So yeah, it just allows us to use the van more, especially in Cornwall where things are a bit more remote. So it's time to crack the ladder out, wherever that is. Get up on the roof and start working out where all our electrical is going to come through. Because I kind of want to keep it serviceable, because the worst thing on Norm is you can't really get to it. So on this, I'm going to try and make it so everything is very serviceable and we can always get to it. But that might be easier said than done. So yeah, let's have a bit of a scout around and see where we want to bring these cables in. I've been sat here for ages deliberating how to do this, trying to think as far forward as possible. Now the original plan I had was to sink all the electrical into that wall and do a nice little perspex board. However, because of the swage lines on the van and that brace further down the bottom, I don't think there's the space to do that in there. So what I might end up doing still is putting the inverter there, because obviously a 3000 watt inverter is absolutely massive. So I think I'll do that there. I think I'm going to stick to my original plan of hiding the DC to DC charger and the MPPT as much as humanly possible, and the 4G. If we ever want to strip it out and use it as a van, just as like a weekend thing, the furniture would come out easily, the kitchen would come out easily, and you've not got wires intertwined through everything. So it's keeping the rear as sort of demountable as possible, but without compromise. Potentially solar cables here. We'll bring it in here actually, it'll be on this dip. Bring it in there. The flanges don't fit, or the glands, sorry, don't fit on these nicely. So it'll have to go in the dip. Just make sure it's sealed properly. And then as you can see, there's cables go down there, and you've got cable tracks both sides. So what I'll do is put one on this dip and one on this dip, which should then also interrupt the air coming over the solar panel, because at the minute we're sort of getting like not a massive one, but you can hear a hum. And I'm hoping by putting those little glands at the front there, you'll potentially interrupt that air. The other thing is the unistrut crosses straight over at that point. So if I can put that there, then I can come straight off the unistrut, loop down and come straight in the glands, which would then mean that we could essentially hide as many cables as possible. There's nothing worse than on the roof rack and you can see all your cables running everywhere. I think I've got P-clips in the workshop, so I'm going to have to use those to get the light bar light back, potentially on that side. I think that's what I've come to. That's the conclusion I'm at. But let's drill some holes. Holes initially drilled. You're going to have to excuse the rain on the roof. We have a weather warning in place. So I'm just using some Sikaflex black. What is it? Sikaflex Extreme Power. Even sticks underwater, which I like the sound of that. So we shall use this. Now what I tend to do is attach the cables through first. So you can see I've got the Wi-Fi antenna through, and then I'm going to grab the, throw that out of the way, the light cable through. So we'll feed that in. Tend to find these can be a bit finicky sometimes, so just pop that off and get that through the seal. Making sure you have it routed how you want it. Yeah, that's fine. So, and then just pull it through to where you want it. And then all these do is, as you tighten these screws down here, the sort of glands, it squeezes a rubber grommet inside and then just tightens it all down. So I haven't gone crazy, but there is some goop on there, as you can tell. So then just feed your cables through the roof, and then what I tend to do is just lightly thread through some of the screws that you want. There we go, there's one. Simply just going to take your finger and pull round like that, and you just want to create a nice seal on the gland. And what I usually do as well is I'll put a glob then over top of the screws, and that is kind of how to install a solar gland. And now my fingers are covered, but all I tend to do is just do that. That's all it tends to need, just to seal the screw off a little bit. It comes through just behind the support beam, which is ideal. So I can go straight along to the side and hide it out of the way. I just can't go any further forward than that. Otherwise I will end up coming through in the support beam. So, but yeah, we are nice and in line with the front of the solar panel. I won't make you sit and watch me doing another one. I'll just crack on with that and show you when it's done. We have progress. If I show you, we have light switch here. So if I press the green one, DRL is on the VanMaster Light Bar. If I press the red one, and we have light. Interesting thing is, they've got a bit of a delay to turn the DRL back on. So you'll think, oh, the DRL's off. Then it comes on. That is a nice trick little feature of the VanMaster Light Bar, and I'm looking forward to trying this at night. I'm sure you'll see that in upcoming videos. So, other progress, we have the cables coming through in the two bungs. One, as you can see, for the light bar already disappears into the roof up there. And then we have the 4G antenna there. And then we have the solar connection coming through there. Obviously there is screws sticking down, but I will cut those off in due course. Yeah, that is that done. I'm happy that we finally got the VanMaster Light Bar on. Turn that back on. That looks pretty cool in the front of there. I love that. I love things like that. One thing I do want to touch on is these Raptor liner bumpers. So you can probably see all the sanding marks in there. If I do that, move the torch. So I'm not happy with that. Obviously, it just looks shit, is the basic answer of it. I think what I'm probably going to do is knock down the top of it. The rear bumper, now it's dried, actually doesn't look too bad at all. The front though is rough. So I'm going to knock that down, resand it again, and go from there. Now, many of you will notice at the start of the video, the bumpers didn't come off nicely on the back. So although the bumper looks fine in the paint, I've had to do the bodgiest of bod repairs to get that to work. So if anybody has a T5 rear bumper in Cornwall, preferably non-parking sensor, but I imagine most of them are, then please get in touch, because I'd love to buy it off you. I think that's where we're going to leave you for this week's video. It's been a week of getting little things in and done, and to be honest, I'm quite happy with how it's turned out. We've got the roof all nicely squared away, and yeah, good progress. Next time we will be doing the interior, so it's time to finally move onto that. We've got all the roofing materials have arrived, all the floors arrived, walls, we're just waiting on some carpet to arrive, and then I think we've got everything, all the electrical as far as what we need to get the walls and the ceiling in and all that is here. So yeah, next video you'll see us completely overhaul the inside of the van, get it all insulated, all boarded out, and pretty much kind of you'll get an understanding of what it's going to look like. So make sure you tune in for that. Remember to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.